Hello and welcome to the final episode of the Saturday Show, Season 2. I'm your host, Cody Goggin, and today we're starting with a very popular movie. We're starting with Back to the Future. Back to the Future is a movie from 1985 and directed by Robert Zemeckis. Zemeckis was desperate for a hit movie after a few box office failures, and after directing Romancing the Stone, he was given a developmental deal. While looking at old photographs, Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis had developed the idea of what it would be like to have attended high school with your parents while they were still young. This soon morphed into the major themes of Back to the Future. The studio had wanted to name the movie Spaceman from Pluto, and Zemeckis and Gale fought to keep this from happening. Michael J. Fox had been the first choice to play Marty, but he was far too busy filming Family Ties at the time. So, Eric Stoltz was hired to play Marty. Production began on the film, and a lot of shooting was completed before it was finally decided that Eric did not suit the film. In a rush, the studio signed Michael J. Fox, and the movie was largely reshot. Christopher Lloyd would play Doc Brown right after his successful role in Taxi. Both actors would become synonymous with their roles from Back to the Future. Crispin Glover would play Marty's dad, and Thomas Wilson would play Biff, the bully of the series. George Lucas's ILM would design special effects for Back to the Future, and the time machine itself would be portrayed as a DMC DeLorean. The DeLorean was chosen for its sleek stainless steel exterior and futuristic rising doors. The film portrays both 1985 and 1955, and for the 1955 world of Back to the Future, the filmmakers chose to mimic the way the 50s had often been presented in television and films of the period. When it was released, it became one of the best performing box office hits of the year, and the movie was critically hailed as a triumph. The actors were praised for their performances, and the film would spawn the making of 2 sequels back to back. Back to the Future has been made into video games, a theme park ride, and a cartoon television show. It's thrilled families and audiences around the world and is still an absolute masterpiece of a film. Up next, we have our album of the week, and I thank you for watching. Our album of the week this week is The Long Run by the rock band Eagles. The members of Eagles were exhausted, and their relationships with each other becoming strained before recording on The Long Run ever began. Timothy Schmidt had replaced Randy Meisner on bass, and songs like The Long Run were written by Don Henley and Glenn Frey as commentary on how they felt about who might make it with the band in the long run. Still, it features great songs such as Heartache Tonight, I Can't Tell You Why, and In the City. Friend of the band, Bob Seger, would perform backing vocals and help write some of the songs. When it was released in 1979, it was met with decent success, but it would prove to be the final album made by Eagles, as they would disband soon after until 1994's Hell Freezes Over tour. Even then, they would not record together again until 2007's Long Road Out of Eden album, and by then, Don Felder would not be part of the group. Sadly, Glenn Frey's passing means we may never get another Eagles album, but The Long Run stands as a great piece of music, made in the midst of a band's most dramatic hours. Give it a listen and let us know what you think in the comments below. For our special feature this week, we'll be looking at a sequel to one of the biggest games of all time. We'll be looking at Super Mario Bros. 2. Super Mario Bros. 2 in Japan was actually an entirely different game. When it was about to be released in the United States, the US division of Nintendo decided that the original levels of the second Super Mario Bros. Game would be too difficult for American players. So strangely, a game called Doki Doki Panic would be altered and adapted into an odd follow-up to the American Super Mario Bros. For the first time because of this, players could play as Princess Toadstool and Toad. Level design and gameplay were also different from the original Super Mario Bros., as they were originally designed for Doki Doki Panic. Still, when it was released, this American version of Super Mario Bros. 2 was the best-selling game in the United States for over a year straight. It was found in homes everywhere and was one of the most popular games of all time. Its new villains and gameplay elements would be adapted into the Mario games that would follow for years to come. The original Super Mario Bros. 2 from Japan was eventually released in America as the Lost Levels. But the American version has been remade and re-released numerous times, and stands as one of the best-selling and best-reviewed games from the late 1980s. Up next is the performance of an original song, and I want to thank you for again watching another season of The Saturday Show. I'm your host, Cody Goggin, and I hope to see you again next time.
See